You are watching.
You're watching. You guys are watching. You're watching
Soleful discussion.
So hi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
All right. How did our paths cross today? How do you and I just meet right now?
I was laying down and you asked me if I could do an interview for you.
And when I initially approached, like, you didn't hear me, so I had to kind of step into your line of sight, and then you were like, hey,
yeah.
Exactly. So, but what did I approach you about? This YouTube video? What's the YouTube video about?
Regarding feet and mental health.
And reflexology.
Reflexology, yeah.
Now, when I first told you what the subjects were about, you got stuck on the feet portion for a long period of time. You were like feet. So, first of all, what are your thoughts about, the video being about that? Like, you having to talk about that. What are your thoughts?
About feet?
Yeah.
I just think it's very interesting. I've never had anyone ask me my opinions on feet, so
there it is.
It just caught me so off guard.
There it is, but you can check this one off your list because somebody's asking you about it today. So
exactly.
What about mental health? Are there any topics you kind of follow closely, you research, or maybe you're invested in?
I'm actually investing a lot of time in mental health right now.
Okay.
But in specific, it's like anxiety, depression.
Yeah.
I'm looking into a lot of CPTSD.
Got it.
A lot into just what was the other one? CBT too.
CBT.
That's something I'm super interested in. Just stuff to do thoughts and
nice.
how they connect with your feelings and just how to take control of your thoughts.
Nice. So have you ever heard of DBT before?
I have.
Heard of CBT?
Yeah.
All right. So DBT is kind of what brought me into the mind of doing starting my channel and doing this, because I actually heard about it talking another guy talking about it on YouTube, and I was like, man, that's really interesting. So kind of me going out and doing these interviews is me practicing DBT. So
okay.
Absolutely. So first question, let's get into it, because I want to get your opinions on what you think about it. Today we're going to be talking about the pressures of sometimes social media and how it can create anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
So I'll get you to talk about that once we get there, okay?
Okay.
Now, what about reflexology? You ever heard of that before?
I haven't.
Okay. So we'll talk a little bit more. I bet you have heard of it. Maybe the term is just not familiar, but we'll talk about that, okay? So let's get to the first question, okay? What are your thoughts on how the world's starting to become more aware of mental health and what we're starting to do about it?
I love it.
Okay.
I think it's awesome. I think in the last 2 years, since the beginning of the pandemic, it's been definitely a thing, and it's helped me discover just new things about myself and new things about other people. And I feel like my friends are all in it too, and it's just really cool to have those discussions now, rather than just keeping it in here.
Up, right?
Yeah, and being I don't know if people want to talk about that, but now I feel like so many more people are open to it that it's just an ongoing conversation. So I think it's awesome. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think and before, a lot of the people who I've talked to so far, they've told me before, maybe 15, 20 years ago, if you were to mention you were dealing with anxiety or depression, people would sometimes look at you like you're crazy, oh, something's wrong with you. But at least now we're starting to accept it a little bit more and get used to it. So always good. What are your thoughts about social media, and then how do you use social media?
So I take a lot of breaks from social media just because it can be a lot.
Yeah.
I struggle a lot with comparing myself to people on social media, just kind of seeing where they're at. But I think social media has a way of making you only display the good parts of your life.
Yes.
So it's it's really common to only be oh, okay, this person's going through a great time in their lives, but they
it's
could
false positives, right?
Exactly, false positivity. I'm just should I be positive all the time? Should my life be going good all the time? And if things go bad, should I feel bad about it?
And I think that's the thing, right? Because and a couple of people I've talked to, I love when they mention this, right? It's okay to not be okay, right? It's okay if things are not going well in your life or whatever like that. As a matter of fact, struggle and things like that help us grow, right? So going through those moments, you're able to have reference points to okay, I remember when I was going through this. Now how do I do better in these situations or whatever? So
coping
definitely
skills.
Important. Love hearing that. If there was one thing you could change about social media, what would it be? Would it be that what you were talking about, the false positivity?
Yeah, I wish people would be more honest on social media. Just hey, I'm going through this really hard time in my life, and let me just share it with everyone. And I feel sometimes I tend to do that. I'll share about something going on in my life, and I tend to get a lot of feedback and a lot of people saying I'm kind of going through the same thing, or I'm going through also a really bad time in my life, and it's kind of okay, there's someone else.
Now.
There's someone else who's going through a really bad time or just a rough time, and
that's dope.
It's
man.
a community.
There you go. Yeah, you got a community, and you can share stories and then like share tips that you may have.
Yeah.
Always good. Always good. All right, so let's get into this. First of all, what are some things that bring you anxiety, right? And you don't have to go like too deep, but just maybe surface level.
Yeah. A lot of just like things I've done, thinking like, should I have done better? Like, could I have done more?
Yeah.
Not having like trust in myself is a big one,
Yeah.
because then when it comes to things in the future, I'm like, can I do this? Like, can I go through with it?
Yeah.
Well, how am I gonna react? What am I gonna do? And it's just like that constant like unknowing.
Exactly. And I think that's the thing, like anxiety, thinking about the future and things that like you don't know what's gonna happen, but like thinking that things are gonna go bad. That's what brings us those moments, right?
Exactly.
So, how do you deal with it though? Like, so you're in the moment and like you're dealing with this anxiety for whatever reason. What type of steps do you take to kind of deal with that?
First of all, I try to do like deep breathing exercises.
Okay.
That's my like go-to. Is like I usually tend to feel like a lot of tightness in my chest.
Okay.
So I just kind of like breathe it out and then make sure that that feeling is not gone, but just like subsided.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of like, it's gonna sound weird, but I talk to myself, just trying to calm myself down and like coping through the moment. And then I'm just like, okay, like I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like I'll be okay.
And I don't think that's weird, because I feel like, like mentioning what you were saying about it being weird. So I told my girlfriend, like, when I go into like a situation where I may be a job interview or something, I'm a lot different than a lot of people. So like I don't do like some people do like research and want to find out about the company. For me, I'm like practicing having a conversation with myself about questions I think are going to be asked to me. And,
I
like,
do that too.
How to respond. How am I going to respond in this situation, right? Like, to me, it makes me feel better and more comfortable doing that. So yeah, I definitely don't think it's weird. I think that more people do that than what you think.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's get into these questions now. I'd like to see how you're going to respond to this. How do you feel about your feet? What are your thoughts?
I used to feel super insecure with my feet. Okay. I had like a couple people in school who like would comment on my feet.
Really?
Yeah, it was super weird now that I think about it. I'm like, why would you comment on that? But I feel like in the most recent years, I've had like
more
people. I've had like a good positive feedback on my feet.
Positive reference.
Yeah,
okay,
like
cool.
So it makes me feel a little more secure, and then like I've just felt more secure about myself in general.
Nice.
So like when it comes to my feet, I'm like, that's the last thing I'm thinking about now.
So what are some of the things? Because you said you had insecurities. What are some of the things that brought you to insecurities? Just the people like talking about it.
Just people talking about them, like because I'd always wear sandals to school.
Okay.
People would always like just like reference my feet for some reason. Like I don't know. It was really weird.
Okay.
But now, I mean, I still wear sandals. People don't really say those comments anymore. Maybe it was just people I was around who were like, I don't know, dealing with their own insecurities.
Stuff, yeah.
So I'm like, they just chose little things to point out about me. So I'm like,
Got it.
Yeah.
Have you ever received any compliments about your feet before?
I have, actually.
Okay. When you get a compliment about that, how does it make you feel?
I feel pretty good. I'm like, okay, people like my feet. And I think, like I said, because I was so insecure with my feet before, I'm like, okay, it's cool to see people are
they like them,
good
right?
things. Yeah.
So before, because you said you were insecure before, so did anybody ever make fun of you because of your feet, or was it just more of they were mentioning it, and for you it was like a little uncomfortable?
It was more making fun of my feet, like
really?
specifically my big toe, because I have a bigger toe than most people.
Okay.
So it was specifically that, and I was like, I don't think it's a big deal, but I guess.
Yeah, you don't think it's a big deal? Nah, and it's interesting. So the name of my channel, as you know, is Soulful Discussions, right? Now I came up with that name because I wanted to like attach it to something that I felt like we all have that's like different, but we all have it. So our souls, but also our souls of our feet. Different, everybody's different, right? But we're all the same because we all have them, right?
Yeah.
So I think that was like something I really want to point to. So like, even though you might have had those insecurities like right before, like we all have feet and like, we're just different, right? Different shapes, sizes, whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
Cool. What are your thoughts on, first of all, if you're dating somebody or potentially going to date somebody, what's a deal breaker for you? Like something you're like, I can't go for that.
Let's see. There's a lot.
Okay. Oh, go.
There's a lot.
Name a list.
Okay, I guess for me, it would be, because I dated someone in the past who followed like just a lot of women on social media, women who wouldn't even follow them back.
Oh, okay.
And I just think like, okay, I don't know, that's a little strange to me.
Okay.
It has a lot to do with social media though. Another thing would probably be never posting about someone. I think that's kind of sketchy to me.
Yeah.
Because every person I've dated who hasn't posted about me, it's like there's some sketchy stuff going on.
Okay.
And I feel like that's the same experience for other women that I've talked to about this. Like, it's just very like,
Yeah, it's like, what are you trying to hide? Like, you're trying to hide me from people. Like, what are you hiding me for?
Exactly.
Like,
And a lot of men say, like, oh, I just don't like my business out there. But I'm like,
yeah, that's an excuse.
I don't know. That just seems like an excuse. So,
now, I can understand maybe if the person, like, they don't post to, like, social media
in
at
general,
all.
yeah,
but it's like, if you're posting other stuff and, like, you don't post about, like,
me, like,
yeah, there might be something wrong there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then another one, obviously, like, talking to other people, like, even, like, flirting with other people, or, like, harmless flirting. I'm like, that's weird. Like, when I'm in a relationship, I just don't even...
Yeah, don't even go there. Don't even open that up.
Yeah. I'm just like, I only see you for now, and everyone else just kind of like, okay, whatever.
Okay. Nice. I love that list. How often do you get pedicures?
Not that often. I think the last time I got one was like 4 years ago.
Okay. Is it more of a, like, a cost thing, like what you can afford?
It's a cost thing, and then just like, I usually do it for events, and I just haven't been to an event in a long time. Yeah, I mean, well, we've been in COVID dealing with pandemic for the last couple of years, so yeah, absolutely. So do you do your own self-care at home? Or? Yeah. So I sometimes do my feet, but I mainly am focusing on my nails right now. Okay. Yeah, because I'm trying to grow them out. Okay. So I'm trying to paint them so I don't bite them. Oh, but nice. With my feet, I'm like,
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay. Cool. So have you ever heard of a medical pedicure before?
No.
So medical pedicures are when you go see, like, a podiatrist who's a specialist of the foot, and they'll take a look at your feet, and they'll, like, tell you, like, if your nails are growing the right way. They'll take a look at your toe alignment to make sure it's correct. They check for, like, dead skin, fungus. They do all the work there with medical grade equipment. What are your thoughts on, like, possibly seeing somebody like that in the future? Like,
I'd be down. Okay. I know that in a lot of cultures, like, feet are very significant. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, feet help you feel grounded. Yeah. Like, you walk the earth with your feet. So true. Yeah. I know in a lot of cultures, like, it's a thing to, like, take care of your feet and, like, do, like, feet masks and all of that. Because I feel like your feet just hold a lot of energy.
They do. So yeah, absolutely.
I'd be down. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. How often do you wear, like, open-toe shoes, sandals, flip-flops? You kind of said it earlier, but, like.
Yeah. So in the past, I did it a lot. Okay. And then now, I say mainly more during the summer. Okay. I do it. In the winter, I'm just like, it's not worth it.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
How often do you go barefoot? No shoes, like.
Pretty often in my house. Okay. I mean, I try to wear slippers now because it just gets too cold and, like, uncomfortable. But when it's, like, hot, I tend to go barefoot.
Got it. So now, earthing and grounding, you kind of, like, mentioned that, like, what you were talking earlier. Have you tried that before, like, doing that, earthing and grounding?
I haven't, no.
Okay. Yeah, I hear from, like, a lot of the people who I've done interviews with before that, like, just maybe doing it 30 minutes a day, like, helps to, like, unclog some of that mental space that may be clogged up, and just, like, allows you to feel that, like, that free feeling, because, like, we're not born into the world with shoes and socks, and like, some of our, like, most fondest moments, like, we're, like, growing up running outside with no shoes or socks on. So yeah, sometimes just feeling that for 30 minutes a day, like, would be helpful. So yeah, maybe think about that.
Yeah.
All right, so now, can we see what your feet look up close?
Sure.
Okay.
They're not
I know that they're not done, and that's all good. We have no judgments or anything here. Yeah. Okay. Let me get you, if you can, to turn this way and, like, point them out this way. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all right.
They're a little ashy too.
That's all good. So put them out straight this way, like in an angle, like towards the corner of the count. Yeah, there we go. What size do you wear?
I wear 8.5.
8.5. Does it vary depending on, like, a tennis shoe or sandal?
It varies. So I'm like 8.5.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. All right. Let me get you to extend your feet out straight, like this. Yeah. Now kind of turn a little bit more towards me this way. There we go. All right. So now, how are you feeling so far? We're going through this. How are you feeling? We know that they're not done, so you may be feeling a little, like.
I'm, like, just looking at them like, oh my god.
But they're yours, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've never had anyone record my feet, so I'm like, this is a new experience for me.
New experience, but how are you coping with it? Like, during the moment, like, when you're going through this,
I'm just going with it. That's nice.
That's nice. Good. I'm glad. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the mental health, because you kind of, like, mentioned it earlier about, like, DBT and CBT, right? In terms of that, right, when you've dealt with that in the past, what are some things that you do, like, when you're presented with situations that may make you feel uncomfortable, like us doing this interview today, like, you didn't know I was coming today, but like, I'm here, we're doing it now. How are you coping with the situation?
I I just have to keep telling myself just go with it.
Okay. Because
like,
you're in it now, so you're
yeah,
like.
I'm just gonna go with the flow. I used to just be very not open to like uncomfortable situations, and I feel like now I'm trying to open myself up more to like being outside my comfort zone. Because in life, that's just always gonna happen. So
it's gonna happen, and so like I was telling you, like me, like using DVT. So in the past, I wasn't always somebody who like I didn't approach people at all. Like I was kind of like I'm doing my own thing. Like if somebody approached me, I was kind of like say like minimal things to them, and I keep it pushing, right? And so I've always felt like I missed out on opportunities, possibly like having friendships or things like that, because I didn't say anything. Mm-hmm. And so like I said, I was watching this guy's channel. He was talking about DVT and like getting out of your comfort zone, and if you feel like fears, because a lot of it for me too is like being afraid. I don't know how this person's gonna react, so I'd rather just stay in my own zone. Yeah. Right? So coming out of that comfort zone and dealing with that has allowed me to like kind of like go out and start doing this and talking about the subject of feet. Some people are not comfortable with it. Like some people are like weirded out by it. So getting people to feel more comfortable with it, like, hey, we all have them. Like, what's the problem, right? Yeah. So that's kind of how my channel came together, and then talking about reflexology to people, because a lot of people don't know about it. So with that being said, let's talk about reflexology now. So reflexology deals with the different pressure points we have like in our hands and feet, right? So all these pressure points and nerve endings, like you have like, you know, hundreds of them like in these areas, and like they basically correlate to different parts of your body. So do it like if you go to get a massage or you do acupuncture or acupressure, it'll actually alleviate like stress and tension in certain parts of your body. So for example, if you're somebody who deals with migraines, right, there's a portion of your foot and hands to massage that'll alleviate the tension from that, right? Yeah. So, and there's all kinds of areas for different things, but like they literally have these areas that are called zones. And sometimes you might see it if you go in a mall or something like that. They have like the people that do that. What are your thoughts about that? Like what reflexology does, like from a holistic standpoint, kind of helping people out?
I mean, I totally think it's true. Like I know some people are very hesitant about it and just like, I don't think it works, but I mean, there's evidence behind it, and I think it's awesome that people do that and have the opportunity to be doing that. Exactly. I hope someday I could start doing that just because like I want to see what it feels like, and like I deal with like a lot of tension, like I said, in my chest area. So I'm like, what can I do holistically to help that? Because
that might be something for you to do. That could help you out, because from the people who I've like talked to before who's had it done, they're like they would literally sit down and like feel tense and like feel all these like different feelings, but then like they go get that massage done or whatever, and then when they get up, it's like, oh wow, I'm a whole other person. So in the future maybe I'll talk to you about that, like going to get it done with somebody. We'll talk. All right. I'd be down. But with that being said, we're talking about reflexology. How ticklish do you tend to be?
I'm super ticklish. Okay. Yeah. I don't like people tickling.
When you get pedicures, are you ticklish?
It's been a while, but I think the last time I did, I was pretty ticklish. Like I almost kicked the lady in the face because I just like couldn't stop moving, and I was laughing so much. But
now I have a trick for you, right? Okay. Something that you could do. Would you mind if we test it on camera to check that out?
Does it involve tickling?
It does. Well, I'd have to show you, and then we could like actually show you what the trick is. Is that okay? You don't have to.
I'm good right now.
Okay. It's all good. It's all good. So let's get you to do a couple of like exercises with your feet. This is to test like dexterity and see if you have like fluid motion. So let me get you to point your feet right in this direction right here and put them out straight. Put them out straight, like. Oh. Yeah, straight like that. There you go. Okay. Let me get you to bend your toes over, make a fist. Tell me if you feel any pain or discomfort when you're doing that.
Bend my toes over? Like
do you feel any pain or discomfort while you're doing that? Okay, relax.
Not really.
All right.
Oh, actually, I do.
You did? Where'd you feel it at?
Yeah, I feel like right here. Like, I got super tense.
Do you? But you probably don't move them a lot, do you?
I don't. That's no.
Why. Yeah, they're probably really stiff. Yeah. So let me get you to spread your toes. Tell me if you feel pain or discomfort when you're doing that. Is it easy to do? Hard to do?
It's kind of hard to do.
Hard to do? Yeah. Don't move them. That's why. So,
yeah.
All right. So let me get you to wiggle your toes for about 10 seconds and tell me if you feel any pain or discomfort while you're doing that. Easy to do? Hard to do? Any pain?
It just feels weird to do because I don't really.
Because you don't do it, right? So what I've heard, like, something that could be helpful for this, like, because your feet may be a little stiff, get yourself a golf ball or tennis ball, and in the mornings you can put it on the ground and just like roll your foot across it.
I have heard of that.
Like loosen up those muscles and stuff like that to help you be a little bit more flexible.
Yeah.
But also doing movements like this would help you out too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's wrap up the interview now. Okay. In terms of my approach, when I came up to you and I asked you to do the interview, was it good? Was it bad? What were your thoughts about my approach?
It was good. I mean, super polite, super welcoming. It's just when I heard feet, I was like,
yeah, you were like,
what?
feet? You asked me like 5 times, like, feet? Feet. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just had to make sure, but I mean, super like, I want to say like comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's good.
I'm glad I can make you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In terms of the interview from start to finish, did you see how everything was going in a line? Did it make sense? Did you learn anything new?
Yeah, it did make sense. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I have heard about just like feet in different cultures and like taking care of them.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, the whole like wiggling my toes and like all of that, that was definitely new for me.
Definitely new.
I've never had anyone ask me to do that, or I've never done that on my own either way.
Absolutely.
And
maybe now you'll start to like at home like practice some of that so you can be a little bit more flexible with that.
Yeah. Also walking barefoot, like you said, being something that's beneficial. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like maybe I'll start doing that more.
Yeah. So you learned about reflexology. We talked a little bit about that. You learned about we talked a little bit about medical pedicures, which you said you might be interested in that in the future. Absolutely. The last thing I'll ask, from a mental health standpoint, a life lesson that maybe you learned, some wise words somebody once said to you that you could say to my channel that could be helpful.
Some wise words.
Yeah, it could be anything. I tell people like
anything?
It could be a song you listen to and you're like, man, that line right there was just absolutely it. So whatever.
Let's see. I think right now I'm just kind of working on being at peace with myself and just trying to find that sense of peace in my daily life. And I feel like
so like self-love, acceptance, all those things.
Exactly, because I've learned the hard way that when you don't have that self-love, when you don't have that self-acceptance, that it's just going to be really hard for you in life. It's going to be really hard, and one day you're going to end up spending time by yourself, and it's just going to feel super uncomfortable. So, and I mean, you have the rest of your life with yourself, so might as well get cool and comfortable with her or him, them. I think it's really important for people to just feel comfortable with themselves.
I love that.
So,
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Definitely appreciate you deciding to do the interview with us, and we hope that you have a great one, okay?
Thank you so much.
All right.